Welcome to the Burnt Out to Lit Up podcast. I'm your host, Erica Del Pozo, occupational therapist, Miami girl, and founder and CEO of Joy Energy Time, where it's our mission to build a better healthcare industry by ending healthcare provider burnout. In these episodes, we'll discuss topics like stress management, personal and occupational well-being, energy, lifestyle, and more. You'll also hear from loads of healthcare professionals like you who provide us with their advice on burnout prevention and share ways that you can become your most lit up self. Ready to get started? Let's do this. Welcome to the Burnt Out to Lit Up podcast. I'm your host, Erica, and today we're going to hang out and talk about wellness. But before we do that, I have a quick random question for you. Do you have a random hair that grows out of your neck or out of your face or out of your chest? Like, do you have one of those random hairs that you started to notice out of nowhere one day and it was like as long as like the day is long, right? Like, I have this hair that grows out of my neck, out of like right under, like right below my ear. And it's like this hair can be completely non-existent one day, and then the next day this hair is about to eat me alive. Like, it grows so fast. I also have an invisible white hair that grows out of my lower neck, and dude, the first time I saw this hair, I thought like just a random strand of something got on me and I was pulling it. I'm like, ow, this hurts. I was around 15 years old, and then I was completely flabbergasted, couldn't even come around it for like the rest of the day, that I had this random long ass white hair growing out of my neck that I see once a year. Like, I can't find it most of the time. And then all of a sudden, I mean, this hair is like 2 inches long and it's ridiculous. The one under my ear, it's like a few centimeters long. It's weird. I'm sure like I'm not the only one that has random hairs growing out of my neck. My husband thinks I'm hairy. I mean, my arms are hairy and my legs are like, I have dark hair. And then I have these random hairs growing out of my neck. So if you experience the same thing, send me a DM and just let me know I'm not the only one. My Instagram is joy.energy.time. If we're not already hanging out there, then let's hang out there and be friends, and you can follow along. It's my community for healthcare professionals. So yeah, let's meet on the gram. So let's get into wellness, okay? This episode is about 3 real ways to practice wellness. Wellness is so hot and trendy. It's been like that for a while. And whenever I go on Instagram, I see all these new concoctions, all these like new home things. I don't even know what to call them. Like, people have saunas in their house now. There's all these like cool charcoal treatments, and people are drinking turmeric lattes and kombucha, which, by the way, I have jumped on the kombucha train and I love it. I love Health Aid in particular. Not sponsoring them, but Health Aid is the best, the highest quality kombucha I've had, and I know that their bottles are glass and everything about the production of their kombucha is top notch. So yeah, there's all these different things in wellness. I mean, it's probably $1 billion market, I'm guessing, or multi-million-dollar market. Wellness is being sold to you in a million different ways, right? And it can get overwhelming. Like, I've had thoughts where I'm like, okay, I'm not that well because I see all these things out there that I'm not doing that I can't afford right now. And it's like, wow, is that true wellness? So I'm going to go into what true wellness is. And I want to say there's nothing wrong or bad with all those new, not necessarily new, but there's nothing wrong or bad with all those different approaches to wellness. Those are just supplements, or those are just products. Those are, maybe pieces of equipment or materials or whatever it may be that supplement wellness. But those products are not wellness in and of itself. And for many people, wellness feels unattainable because you're comparing yourself to these Instagram influencers that have what apparently seems like to be all the wellness things, and you have maybe one or two or none of these things, and you're like, wow, you start to compare yourself and feel down about yourself, and then you tell yourself, wow, I'm not well, or I'm not practicing true wellness, and then we feel bad about ourselves. I mean, that couldn't be further from the case, because wellness shouldn't be defined in this way. We should not define wellness by how many wellness products you have or how much money you're spending. I saw this documentary. There is a 10 grand a year gym membership that exists in New York City. I'm sure things like that exist in other parts of the world too. But $10,000 a year, right? For a gym membership. And for some people, that's like the ultimate sign of wellness, right? Because you're paying a lot of money, but you're getting a lot in return. I mean, for most people, I'm not sure. I don't think that's realistic, I want to say. I mean, definitely not for me. But we should not define wellness by the amount of money you're spending. That's not what it's about. Wellness is for everyone. It's a fundamental right, regardless of wealth, regardless of money. Wellness isn't just for the elite. Wellness isn't just for those that put charcoal masks on. That doesn't make you well, okay? It can help you feel good, and it's a part of a lot of people's routines, but those things in and of themselves do not define wellness, and they do not necessarily make you well. So wellness is for everyone, and the Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, which is like the holy grail for occupational therapists, the third edition of that defines wellness and health as resources for everyday life, not the objective of living. For individuals, health is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, as well as a positive concept emphasizing social and personal resources and physical capacities. Health for groups and populations includes these individual aspects, but also includes social responsibility of members to the group or population as a whole. Wellness is an active process through which individuals or groups or populations become aware of and make choices towards a more successful existence. Wellness is more than a lack of disease symptoms. It is a state of mental and physical balance and fitness. Damn, mic drop from the OTPF. They define well-being as a contentment with one's health, self-esteem, sense of belonging, security, and opportunities for self-determination, meaning, roles, and helping others. Well-being is a general term encompassing the total universe of human life domains, including physical, mental, and social aspects. So I'm going to link in the show notes the definitions that I just read to you from the Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, because it's important to note that they do not mention anything about turmeric lattes or fancy spa retreats, right? They're not talking about that. So the path to health and well-being is linked to participating in daily occupations. It's what it really comes down to. And daily occupations are the things you do every day. So just a little, I'm going to step on my soapbox for a second. As an occupational therapist, we focus on enabling clients to maximize their capacity to participate in life activities that are important and meaningful to them in order to promote overall health and wellness. So, for example, I have worked with kids in the pediatric population, and I'm promoting health and wellness through engaging in occupations such as play. Because kids, their main job is learning through play. So I've enabled them to participate in play, and that is enhancing their overall health and wellness. So yeah, we are the OGs, occupational therapists. I don't think we get enough recognition. I'm going to get off my soapbox here. Just wanted to read that to you because health and wellness is a huge outcome that occupational therapists work towards in one way or the other. And it's really the ultimate goal. I don't see wellness as an end destination, but rather I see it as a journey. And sometimes I do fall into this trap where I do see wellness as something that once you have all of these products, then it is attainable and that's it. You are experiencing wellness. And that's when I fall into a trap, and I'm sure many others do as well. And I realize it's not about that. It's about a journey. It's an evolving, ever-growing, ever-changing journey. Although there are people that we look at and we call them perfect, or we think they're perfect because they've achieved quote unquote total wellness, that's just not true, because like I said, we're constantly changing. We all have more to learn. So consider your wellness to be ever shifting and an evolving journey. So I'm going to go right now into the 3 things that you can do right now or whenever. I said right now like 2 times. Okay, 3 things that you can do to get you started on your unique, real, no BS wellness journey. Ready? Vámonos. Okay. The first one is begin by defining wellness for you. I didn't say for Kim Kardashian. I didn't say for your favorite Instagram influencer. I didn't say for Selena Gomez. You define wellness for you. It's not about the products. It's easy to compare yourself to others in this day and age, and we all fall victim to that. But wellness looks different for everyone. So wellness, if you're brand new to wellness, if this is like wellness 101, what is missing in your life right now that would make you feel better, that would contribute to your health? Is it going to sleep a little bit earlier? Is it shutting off the phone and the TVs and the lights like 30 minutes earlier so you can get higher quality, longer sleep? Is that wellness to you? That's great, because that's your wellness, right? And getting better quality sleep should be everyone's wellness. It should be on everyone's wellness plan. For other people, wellness can look completely different. Maybe they've been at it for a long time, so they have established these foundational things like quality sleep, eating organic whole foods, getting movement or exercise in. So now they're layering that with yoga retreats in Cabo or Puerto Vallarta or Tulum, or, everything's in Mexico. Now they're taking these wellness retreats and drinking fancy mocktails with kombucha. And, I would love to get there someday. And I'm not saying that that's unattainable, but for some people it is. And for some people, that's where they're at. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's about looking at the fundamentals and not being phony or BS about wellness, right? Because actually that leads me to my next point, but I'm going to try to stick with this one just for a little bit longer. So define wellness on your terms. I encourage you to write down your current definition of wellness. I encourage you to write down what that looks like for you and to make a list of challenges. For example, if you're eating a lot of processed foods right now, or you're dealing with a lot of stress in maybe not the best way, you're coping with, you're coping via thinking or worrying about your stress late at night, and it's causing you anxiety and decreased quality of sleep, and then you wake up completely depleted, and it's like this ongoing cycle. I encourage you to write that down and get real with, okay, I know I've been experiencing this for a while, and this seems normal to me, but writing it down, it's actually not normal to go to sleep with a lot of anxiety every single night and be up for hours on my phone, right? So I encourage you to really break down different areas of your life and to look at, okay, what is a challenge and how can I improve it? Not to make a total life change overnight, but what little step can I take tomorrow or right now to improve it, right? For me, what I needed in the beginning of my wellness journey was to meditate and to have quiet time. And my quiet time now is so sacred to me. In fact, when I first began my wellness journey, I was a workout holic, and that was pre-wellness journey because I was working out these high intensity workouts in the face of having a lot of anxiety in my body already, so my adrenals were crashing, I was doing these high intensity workouts and I was burnt out at work. And just because I was working out, it didn't necessarily mean that I was well. I mean, yes, I was taking care of my body, but actually I was doing more damage because I was leaving the gym with more anxiety. My workouts I got through them because I had so much anxiety, and I was doing these high intensity workouts that did not help. So I crashed. I burnt out. I didn't burn out because of that. I burnt out, you know my story. If you haven't, then I encourage you to listen to episode 1. But that high intensity workouts, because I thought that was how I should be taking care of my body, I actually was not taking care of my body. Or taking care of my mind. So when I started to practice wellness, I started to have quiet time and started to implement more yoga and gentle movement, and along with my intensity workouts when it was a good time for me. Because every day, every day of the week, if you're hitting it hard, even when you're going through your menstrual cycle, and there's so much out there on that I can't cover this right now, but it's about listening to your body. So fitness and wellness isn't actually interchangeable. Ooh, that's like a mic drop. You know how many fitness competitors are not healthy, right? So I just don't want you to get confused. That was a total side note, but we're going to keep going. I don't want you to get confused between fitness and wellness, right? So my wellness journey began with taking out so much of the high intensity workouts and exchanging it with some yoga, some floor or mat work, and on top of that, the quiet time in the mornings. So my meditation, my prayer, my journaling, all that. It's like vitamins for my soul, y'all. I'm not from the South, but I just said y'all. Anyway, let's continue. Write down what you need to work on. Write down what wellness is for you. Number 2, judgment. It's hard to be well or to practice wellness when you're judging others constantly. I once met a love coach, and she was a love coach. And we were in this workshop together, this 3-day weekend workshop we were learning how to be better public speakers. And one of the mornings I had a coffee with me, and she exclaimed loudly, "Ew, coffee? That's so bad for you. I stopped drinking coffee years ago. You should drink green tea." She's a love coach, and she's all about self-love and love with your friends and family and relationships and all about love. But then she comes at me with this attack because I'm drinking coffee. I'm not bothering her. She was disgusted that I had coffee. That's so bad for you. You know what? I would never hire her if I needed to hire a love coach, because that was extremely judgmental. And there were other moments where I saw that she couldn't control her judgments. And judgments come from a place of pain, of wounds. How can you be a love coach and have these outward, very open judgments towards something as simple as coffee? We are not perfect, and we all judge. And despite her being a love coach, even the Pope judges. Everyone judges. You can't escape it. But if you are a real advocate for wellness, you develop a self-awareness around judgment. And there are many practices and exercises you can do to keep your judgment at bay, and to understand that there is no reason to openly judge someone for their preferences or for their opinions or for their looks even. How many times have I've been with a friend, and she sees other girls and she gets insecure perhaps of maybe how she looks. This is just my impression and she judges them because they're taking cute pictures, right? Like, they don't deserve to be judged. We judge because it's easier to deflect our pain. You know, I am barely scratching the surface with judgment, and I highly, highly recommend the book, The Judgement Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein, because that book is, I'm actually listening to it on Audible, but that book is literally life-changing because it is so healing to know. You don't even realize how much you judge and how much a defense mechanism it really is once you read this book. She has you getting really real with yourself and having you do all these exercises to examine the nature of our judgment. Not to eradicate it because we're human and we can't, but to understand it and make peace with it and decrease it, become aware of it, and come from a place of love, because judgment and love cannot coincide. So it's really hard when you have people practicing quote unquote wellness and their Lululemon and their yoga retreats, but they're openly judging people for their coffee, let alone someone else's looks, or like whatever it is that person's doing. Oh, so-and-so broke up with so-and-so, and it's like chisme, which in English, that's Spanish for gossip. And that is toxic. It's bringing everyone's energy down. It's bringing your energy down. And it's not coming from a place of love. So that's number 2. Be aware of your judgment if you want to practice real wellness, and take the steps needed so that you can let go and start to heal yourself. And I highly recommend The Judgement Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein. Lastly, take a deep breath. Breath is essential for life. You can live without water and food for a few days, and you can live without sleep for a few days, but you cannot live without breathing. How are you breathing? Toddlers and little kids breathe from their belly naturally without being aware of it, because little kids and toddlers, they are very present. They are so present in the moment. And us as adults, we are far from present. We're thinking about taxes and our next meeting, and we're ruminating about yesterday's incident at work and thinking about our patients, and we are not present. So we have lost that connection with our belly breathing. We breathe from our chest most of the time. And of course, breathing from the chest is necessary when you are exercising, if you're running, if you're in an emergency situation. Your breathing is from up here, from your chest. What if you connect your breath with your belly, and you put your hand on your belly, and you start to feel your belly moving up and down? Connecting with your breath in that way ignites your prefrontal cortex and quiets your amygdala. Your amygdala is the almond-shaped part of your brain that is the fight or flight, the emergency. And the prefrontal cortex allows you to make decisions and be logical. And so if you're running around the whole day with the shallow breathing, like I was, and I was actually having panic and anxiety attacks at work because I was always dealing with things from that shallow state, I recommend that you take breathing breaks. Once I started to take breathing breaks and breathe from my belly, that has been the number one in the moment eradicator of stress for me. A little mini life hack. If you're in a stressful situation and you can take a second, you don't even have to put your hands on your belly. Or start breathing from your belly. Let your belly get big and small, and take 10 breaths and count each breath. You're going to quiet your crazy amygdala, right? And you're going to reconnect with yourself. I've done this so many times, and when just to get out of or to manage a stressful situation better. And then I realized, wow, okay, I can come at this from a different approach. I can respond to this versus reacting, which I literally think that once you change your breathing, you can come from a place where you can respond better because you have connected. I have experienced this for years, and there is so much evidence out there that once you change or you control your breathing and allow your breathing to come from your belly, that's going to make you more mindful. It's going to allow you to be more mindful. A huge cause of my anxiety was not being in control of my breath ever. And I would try to take deep breaths when I was anxious, but they would actually come from my chest. I wasn't even breathing from my belly. So once I changed that and started to breathe from my belly, I realized that I got this. And during my daily meditation practice, I do a lot of the belly breathing. I do this with the kids I work with. The kids I work with that have autism spectrum disorder or have other developmental disorders. It really helps with the self-regulation and brings these kids back into the present moment when they start having an emotional outburst, or they're having a maladaptive response with coping with something. When I've worked with the kids and I've implemented these practices, the kids that I feel could understand this, I've seen in the moment how they are cooling down. I see their calm faces and their bellies moving, and now we can re-engage in the activity that we were doing because now they're ready. They're ready to work. They're in the green zone instead of the red heightened anxiety zone that comes from breathing from their chest. So let me do a little recap on 3 ways you can practice real wellness. Number 1, begin by defining wellness for you and write it down. Don't make these big lofty goals. Just recognize the areas of your life where you know that you can improve so that you can start experiencing wellness on your terms. 2, no judgment. The point is not to eradicate judgment, but to become aware of it and know that it's not helping our wellness practice. Judging only hurts us and hurts others. And it's a result from wounds that we need to heal. So be aware of your judgment. And last one, take a breath. Being connected with your body, I think, is the fundamental to practicing real wellness. And that's it. There you have it. Those are my tips for real wellness. You can get caught up in the fancy mumbo jumbo, but recognize that those support your bigger overall goals and don't lose sight of those. If you love the show, be sure to share it with your friends, your family, but most importantly, besides sharing it and growing this awesome community, please take a few seconds to rate the show and subscribe and write a review. It means the world to me to read reviews, and it helps the show climb up in the rankings so that it reaches more people. I mean, this is an incredible free platform, and I love this. Wouldn't do this if I didn't love it. So let me know you're listening. Show me some love. Share this episode. Share the show. And I'll talk to you guys later. Mwah. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Like what you're hearing? Subscribe to our podcast, rate, and write a review on iTunes. It would mean the world to us. We come out with new and exciting content each week that will help you slay your burnout beast. So share the show with your friends and your coworkers so we can build a better healthcare industry together. Thanks again.